first and foremost, Sarah, you cover the company from a real focal point over there in Amsterdam. What did you make of these numbers? Why was it such a shock, this sort of focus for growth instead of profitability at odds with everyone else?
Yes, that's right. So Adyen reported earnings for the first half that missed estimates on both revenue and margins. It posted its lowest net revenue growth since it was listed. And the company attributed this to a weaker economic climate with higher interest rates, inflation, and particularly increased price competition in North America. The other thing with Adyen is that they continue to hire, and they hired about 550 employees or so in the first half, and that too has weighed on margins in the first half.
Henry, let's bring the shares up and talk about this big drop. What's the street saying? Because 40% drop, essentially biggest drop on record.
Yeah, definitely. So when you think about a growth stock like Adyen, the scariest moment that you can have is when the street thinks that it's no longer a growth stock. So we saw these kind of things happening with Meta before, the Facebook parent, when its flagship apps hit a bump. And we see this kind of things happening with Adyen for sure as well, because we saw its North American revenue, the growth actually halved during the first half. Now, so the issue is, because we have seen several quarters, so Adyen missed earnings estimates, but it's the first time that we've seen since its IPO that it missed processing revenue estimate, processing volume estimate as well. And it's not just a miss, it's a miss of 8%. So the question is whether the company can revive its growth. We know the company has reiterated its medium-term guidance, but there is now some concerns on whether the company can achieve its growth trajectory anymore, given the competition, especially in the US.
And Sarah, dwell on that for a moment, because they have spoken out about this being, this hiring, this focus on growth still, which is at odds with basically everyone else in the market, is for longer term potential here. But is this a cultural focus that they've got at the moment, the fact they want to be hiring in this market? How do you think they manage to convince investors?
Well, Adyen has been very vocal about the fact that they are in an investment mode. They're preparing the company for the next growth phase. I mean, they listed only a few years back. So they hired about 1,200 employees last year, and they expect to hire a similar amount this year. So as I said, about 551 employees in the first half itself. So the company has said that this is their focus, although they did mention that they will slow down hiring from next year. So yes, it is in contrast with a lot of their peers who have announced job cuts in the past year or so.